to show you how to set up some defaults in your RevoC software to make milling quicker and doing those hour and a half flip plus rotary jobs that you've always wanted, and to really get your throughput is maximized. So we'll go into the RevoC builder. I just have a Cheese Whiz wedding band here, and I usually elect to make my own supports. I don't know, just the way I like to do it. I put in the user supports. We'll just do a flip plus rotary on this. Now before we go any further, we want to click on this Revo Options button. And as you see, these settings are very different than the default settings. Here you got your Revo Mesh options, which is very important. A lot of people overlook this, but getting a nice smooth mesh is going to be really important and critical for getting a smooth wax. And so here are the settings. I put everything to 0 except this maximum distance edge to surface. I set at 0.005. You can go finer than that if you want. Just make this number smaller. I don't really think it really makes a difference. There may be some instances where it might, but this has been a great setting for me. Now, as far as supports go, this is for automatic supports. I put them at 1.5. I think 2.0 is a little bit heavy. And then this is your length. And the other option that you'll want to do, your default distance between toolpaths. I have mine at 0.04. I do a lot of toolpaths at 0.03. And you can also change the default on every toolpath, and I'll show you that later easily. It's part of the workflow. Tool depth, set it at negative 0.2. It's important to type that in. If you just try to, well, it does let you type 0.2 now. It didn't used to. So negative 0.2. The default is at 1 millimeter, and that causes a net of 1.6 millimeters of Z depth throughout your entire toolpath that just eats up a lot of time. And so setting at 0.2, it'll cut the wax away sufficiently, and of course it'll tell you right off the bat if the cutter breaks. You'll see a nice thin sheet of wax there. The border offset I put at 1.6. I used to have it at 1.5. I made it a little bit bigger so the hub block on the bottom gives it a little bit better clearance. It'll fall out of the block a little bit easier. So 1.6, you can tighten that down to 1.5 or less if you want, but then it's a hassle to get the wax out of the block. But that's also to save you time. So, and go ahead and hit set. And then let's click through here, show you some options, make you feel comfortable about this part. This is the center support. You could literally put anything you want in here. I mean, I've got a bunch of center supports already made for different setups. You know, this one's like for different types of tourney bands. I've got an extra small one that I like to use to give me more room to cut out the hub. Here's one that you can use on like say rings with baskets and things like that to give it extra support. You can do anything you want here. So the main thing is don't mess with the block. Don't split it, don't cut it, don't trim it, don't fillet it. Just leave it the way it is. This is a critical piece of information that that you need to put the custom when you put the hub in. Make sure you include that block. Okay, so go ahead and put the block in. Don't 1D stretch it and try to make it thinner or anything like that, or squish it. And this looser, tighter, you can leave it at 0. If you find it's too easy to get on, just hit it up 1, and then that'll make your drill holes shallower, and then it'll tighten around the fixture. So go ahead and hit next. And this is some defaults here. Your cutter, I want that Revo cutter on all the toolpaths. here's where you can change your distance between toolpaths if you want to do it nice and fine. Now, I'm going to show you some things that are going to save you a tremendous amount of time on this mill job. This should take an hour on the flip, and it should take about 20 minutes on the rotary, and here's how. The Revo default setting gives you a border distance of 1.6. Let's take a look at what that means. I'll make the toolpath real fast. And as you can see, when you're getting these different colors, okay, and you click on, you double click this and it'll open up each toolpath flat, you know, one or the other. And then the rotary, notice that the cutter goes, each little line here is represents the path of the cutter. Somebody asked me what does step over mean, and that's the distance between each line. The tighter the step over, the finer the detail. And that's going to be important when you have a lot of movement in your piece to tighten that down. This doesn't have much. We probably even got to get away with 0.5 on this one and just whipped it out. So anyway, so you'll notice the cutter goes over the edge of the ring and down, over, back, and up. Well, it does that, I don't know, 1,000 times, but it does it on both sides. So that adds a tremendous amount of time to your milling. And so in order to fix that, we can get this from about an hour and a half or an hour and 20 minutes down to about in 20 minutes or something like that. But hit border distance and then highlight that and hit 0 and hit set. Okay, now watch. You make paths. And look at that. Hey, what do you know? So you just saved a ton of time and a lot of wear and tear on your mill and all that other good stuff, your cutter, a lot of air cutting. And so so that's a basic kind of really a quick look at getting your mill running quick out of the blocks. And this is your distance between tool paths that you can change on each tool path. Your tool path style, you know, if you want to cut a spiral tool path, a lot of times when you have artwork on the facing edge, that's really, really handy because you don't want it to cut it one way here, or repeating artwork, or even a row of bead set diamonds. You don't want it to, the tool path to look one way on one side of the ring, and it's going to look different over here than it is up here. So use a spiral tool path for those instances. That's always really helpful. So happy milling, everyone.